Nisargadatta Maharaj said something that can be very valuable and helpful to prepare yourself for awakening if you take it seriously. And it is the following. He said, if you want to find the truth, have a good look first to the false. So let's analyze this idea, and I will try to explain here what he meant by the false. When he said the false, he was referring to the illusions about what you are, meaning what you imagine to be, and it is not the case. You are not that. So what are the things that we human beings tend to imagine that we are, and we are not? First of all, the body. So we need to have a good look into the body, and to do that, just notice that the body is always an object in front of what you are, consciousness. So you as consciousness, you are looking at the body, always. How do you know that the body is here? You know it because you are observing it. It's an object observed in front of you as consciousness. So the only way, absolutely the only way that you know of the existence of the body is because you are observing it. And therefore, it is an object that is being observed. What complicates the situation a little bit more with the body, if we compare with, let's say, this microphone, is that if you look at the microphone, you say, obviously, I'm not the microphone. You are the consciousness looking at the microphone. But in the case of the body, consciousness is also looking through this object, looking through towards its universe. And that looking through makes a little bit more difficult to realize that it is an object in front. Still, it's true that the only way you know that the body is here is because you're looking at it, you as consciousness. How do you look at the body? Through the senses. With the eyesight, you see the body. With the ears, you listen to the body, the heart and the breathing. Through the touch, you touch the body. Through the smell, you smell the body, and through the taste, you taste the body. So there it is. If the senses were not there, you wouldn't know that the body is in this place. There is a kind of a sixth sense that is called proprioception in medicine and biology, which is proprioception is the sensation that the body is here in space, and is what gives you an automatic sense of where the body is located in space. That proprioception is also observed. Consciousness knows that the body is in this position or this position in space, also because there is observation of the sensation of proprioception. So just do this, realize that the body is always an object in front. As I said, what complicates the situation a little bit more is that consciousness is looking through the body. But that shouldn't be the case, because still it's true that you only know the body because you have consciousness, because you observe the body. You're watching the body. And second, let's take, for example, the case of a telescope. If you look through a telescope, yes, you're looking through a telescope to some distant object, for example. But the fact that you're looking through the telescope does not confuse you in thinking, oh, I am the telescope. No, the telescope is an object, and you're using it to look through. When it's the same situation with the body. The body is an object that is being used by consciousness to look through it. So that's the first false identification. Let's go into another one, the mind. In order to realize that you are not the mind, you need to separate the mind in its 5 basic components. It's 5 mental objects: emotions, thoughts, motivations, which includes desires and expectations and goals and so on. Then beliefs, that are powerful ideas that are believed. And finally, sensations again. So the mind is these 5 mental objects, and you need to do some looking to realize that whenever you get in contact with one of these mental objects, you as consciousness are observing that mental object, meaning the mental object, whether it is an emotion, a thought, a motivation, a belief, or a sensation, is being observed. It's part of the observed. It's an object in front. So the mind is not you. The mind is an object in its relationship with consciousness, which is what you are. Then the third identification is with the personality. The personality is me. I am this way, I am that way. Again, you need to realize that you are not the persona, the personality. For that, I would recommend that you have a good look into understanding the personality types. And you can find many different personality systems or typological systems, from astrology all the way to the Enneagram and the Myers-Briggs. But the only one that is based on something completely natural, because it has its origin in the chakra system, the energy system, meaning the astral body, is the Myers-Briggs. The Myers-Briggs was discovered by 2 psychologists. They were mother and daughter, and they took the Jungian personalities and created a system based on the Jungian personalities. And they created the Myers-Briggs. The best exponent in the West of the Myers-Briggs is David Kersey. And you can go to his website and take the test. He has a test called the temperament sorter that will help you to realize what is your personality type in the Myers-Briggs system. That will give you insight into your persona, your personality type. Insights that are very valuable because the Myers-Briggs, as I said, is organized on a natural system. It's not an invention of the mind. It's not a creation of the imagination, the thinking. No, it's already embedded in your chakra system. And I will explain to you why this is so. There are 4 chakras in the spine, the astral spine, that are human in their nature, and the rest, actually they are 3.5, because the heart has a human part, the heart center, and it has a divine aspect. So, and there are 3.5 that are spiritual in nature. This center, this, and this. So now, the personality, the human personality, pertains the 3.5 lower centers. And these centers can be more exalted in some individuals than in others, relatively to the other chakras. So if your first center in the coccyx is exalted, and the coccyx has to do with survival and money and the material aspect of life, your personality type will be more materialistic. And it will be less hedonistic, which pertains to the second chakra, will be less system-oriented in the third chakra, and less narcissistic, which is part of the third chakra, and will be less idealistic and less romantic in the fourth center. That means that you have a strength as a human in dealing with the material aspect of life. Yeah. Now, the exaggeration of the center, when it's overly exalted, will likely make you a very materialistic person. But materialism as a philosophy is a false philosophy. Is completely imbalanced because it's over emphasizing just one aspect of life. It's not a bad aspect of life. It's just that it's being overemphasized and then is debilitating the rest. There is no harmony in the chakra system in that case. In the second chakra, the emphasis is in pleasure and enjoyment of life, meaning an individual that is that belongs to a group called, in the Myers-Briggs, the artisan types. And let me tell you that in the first chakra, in the Myers-Briggs, the ones that have exalted the first chakra in the Myers-Briggs are called the guardians. They are the guardians of this society. They are the ones that are really grounded. The second chakra, the individual is geared towards the enjoyment of life. And if they have a weakness in the first chakra, then they will tend to overemphasize enjoyment at the expense of their material life. So the individuals that have an exalted second chakra in the Myers-Briggs are called the artisans. And they correspond with about 40% of the population in the world. Same with the first chakra, about 40%. Hedonism, in its right measure, is okay. Yeah, we want to enjoy the pleasures of life. We want to enjoy the senses. We want to be flexible and not restrain too much the body in its pursuit for pleasure. However, what we don't want is to go over the board and have a second chakra so exalted that we become hedonists and we turn hedonism and the pleasures of the senses into our philosophy of life, which is an aberration and is an inharmony. So as I said in the previous video, which I will leave you here later for you to watch it, the second chakra in its natural correct state should be a blessing, because the enjoyment of the senses is beautiful. It is the exaggeration, it is the addictions, it is the corruption of the human being that comes with addiction, the exaggerated, the perversions in regard to sexuality. These are the problems, not sexuality or the senses or all those things. These have a normal expression and an abnormal expression. When you study these things, you realize, and it will help you to realize the value of balance, and will give you the strength to let go of the imbalances, the excesses. And that is invaluable because it's preparing you for awakening. Because to reach awakening and to be really happy in life, you need to have all your chakras in a harmonious balance. Then in the third center, the pursuit, the motivation there is for a good self-concept, solid self-concept, good self-esteem. And when it is overly exalted, then you fall into narcissism. I love myself too much. And then that creates problems with others as well as with yourself, because it creates imbalances. So self-esteem is a good thing. An inflated self-esteem, narcissism, is a bad thing. Converting life into a pursuit of grandiosity, that is narcissism. It's a false philosophy. Then, if you are in the Myers-Briggs a rational type, it's called rational in the Myers-Briggs, is because you have exalted the third center, the third chakra. And you can discover if you have that preference, if that is the chakra that is exalted with the Myers-Briggs, you will find out. Are you a rational? Rational types are very prone towards or very interested in developing systems. There is a lot of people today in the planet working in systems. That's why the computer is a system. The internet is a system. And some spiritual paradigms are systems. The Myers-Briggs is a system. So we need systems. A corporation is a system. We need systems. But in the third chakra, individuals that are interested in systems, they can go over the board and destroy individuality in the name of loyalty to a system. That is also a distraction. That is also an imbalance in the third chakra. Then we go into the fourth center. In the fourth center, which has to do with love, obviously, the heart center, there's a part that is human and a part that is divine. The part that is human is the drive for romance and for good interpersonal relationships and so on. If that is exalted, the individual tends to have a personality that is more romantic, idealistic. And in the Myers-Briggs, these individuals are called the idealists. They tend to be very spiritual. They are very interested in spirituality. That is true, but that doesn't mean that they are more spiritual than the other types. The other types can also be very spiritual. All the types can be very spiritual in the sense of interested in awakening, in finding their true nature. But the idealists, which are about 10% of the population, same as the rationals, the idealists can also fall prey of a philosophy of life that is false. It is a false philosophy, which is romanticism. Because in romanticism, you overvalue the romance in life. And romance cannot give you true happiness. And we all know. Will give you happiness in the beginning of the relationship. And then you have to work for your relationship. And if you're not willing to do the heavy work, then you will only know romance. And once the romance is gone, the in love phase is gone, you will want another one. And that doesn't work. It's a trap, right? We all know that. So these are the 4 types in the Myers-Briggs. The Myers-Briggs shows you which one of the 4 human centers in the spine, in the astral spine, you have exalted. And it is a window to explore this aspect of the false, as Nisargadatta says. Explore, look at the false, because it will help you to finally see the truth, which means awakening. You got to get quite a bit of insights about your persona, knowing yourself as a persona first, before you know yourself as consciousness. Understand the personality that you were given as a human. And I know no better system and faster than the Myers-Briggs to do that. If you try with psychotherapy, yes, going to psychotherapy will help you because perhaps your therapist will give you insight into your personality, some good insights, but the Myers-Briggs will do this much, much faster. So I would recommend that you go to a therapist that is versed on Jungian psychology, including the Myers-Briggs. Or do the research yourself. There is a book that was sold in the millions of copies without any advertisement, and it's called Please Understand Me. And Please Understand Me, it was written by David Kersey, and it's a fabulous book about the types. It has also a test at the beginning that will help you to get your typology and learn about yourself as a persona, which is not your true self. It's a fake self. But anyway, If you want to know the truth about you, have a good look into the false. The final illusion is the astral body. The astral body, I am a soul, is an illusion. It's not true. You're not a soul. You have an astral body. When the physical body dies, the astral body goes out, and then you become identified with that instrument through which consciousness is looking through, but now it's looking towards the astral world, the world made of light. And you conclude erroneously, I am a soul. No, the soul is another identification with the astral body. So we need to learn about the astral body. The astral body has the astral centers, 7 centers. And 4 of them control your human personality type. Then this center and this center have to do with the soul. The soul is very intent on learning to love unconditionally, and also to put love into service, into action, which is service, 5th chakra. So the 5th chakra is about service, it's about love in action, and you need to learn the specialty of your soul. You need to find the information necessary, or a coach or somebody to help you to discover the specialty of your astral body, which there are many different specialties. And why is so important? Because if you find out what is your specialty, then that tells you how you need to align yourself as a human with that specialty, that vocation, and engage yourself in this plane, in that line of work, because it will give you a lot of happiness. Yeah, and you will feel much more useful to others, and you will feel that your life is more authentic, that you're not doing something that you shouldn't be doing, because it's not your specialty at all, but you're doing it just to make money or to pay the bills. So it's very valuable to learn about this illusion, the illusion of the soul. So I hope this has helped you to begin to see through these illusions and where to find information to understand more about your persona and your soul. There are a couple of books that are valuable to find out about your specialty at the soul level. One is Journey of Souls, the other one is Destiny of Souls. They were written by a psychologist called Michael Newton that was using hypnosis to find out what's going on in the astral world. Life between lives, basically. Not life. Instead of past lives, he was exploring the life between lives. And his work is very, very good. Both books are very useful in this search for your vocation, and also create intention. I want to know what is the specialty of my soul. Is your soul, but you're not the soul. What is the specialty of the astral body that is here? So these illusions, body, mind, persona, and soul, you need to have a good look at them. Why? Again, because will prepare you for awakening. Exactly as Nisargadatta said, when I look backward at my own process before awakening, it was exactly like that. There was were periods of years of intense search and trying to understand and realize what these elements were about. Then awakening came in a way as a natural result of all this previous work. I'm not saying that awakening cannot come as a result of your just pure devotion, the desire to wake up. If the desire is intense, you can wake up. But all this work that I'm talking about lead you naturally into awakening to your true nature. You have done the work in the lower centers. Now you are ready for this. It is in this center that the motivation is for awakening to true nature. Not to the soul, not to the persona, no, to true nature. Not to your vocation. It's a much more significant awakening. But in a way, finding your specialty of the soul is an awakening. It transforms your life, especially if you follow through and find a way to practice your specialty. Okay. I hope this helps you how to prepare yourself for awakening. Then if you like this video, please press like. If you're interested in coaching sessions to prepare yourself for awakening, I leave you my email at the end of the description of the video. If you think that you're ready for awakening, I leave you a link to the awakening protocol. The awakening protocol works, but it works better if you are well prepared, and or if you have an intense devotion. And then, if you're already awakened, if awakening happened, or you suspect that it has already happened, and you do want to do embodiment work, you can also write to me at the email that I'm leaving you at the bottom, at the end of the description of the video. Working with people that have already awakened is one of the things I have done for many years, and it's very rewarding because they are very insightful and they move forward very fast, but that doesn't mean that they don't need help. Many times they do, and you can get a lot from a coach that helps you in that process. I got it myself. I worked for 3 years with the teacher that helped me to wake up. 3 years on embodiment, with coaching sessions. So that's it. I think I covered the whole thing, and I hope this helps you. Bye.